OGchan. It's at his house. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a video. The camera. I still can't get the lighting right on the camera. It just sometimes it's orange. I'll fix it. Hello. Hi. Welcome to the channel. Today, I'm gonna do a little bit racially charged. That doesn't sound right at all. I recently heard about this channel called Jubilee. All the YouTubers are doing it. Everyone's looking at the videos on here. And I saw a couple videos that look kind of cool. I might do one later on them. But one that really intrigued me was, do all multiracial people think the same? Now, in case you didn't know, I myself am a multiracial human. To my knowledge, what I know, I'm African American, Caucasian, Mexican, Native American, Irish, and I think those are the main ones. I think I'm Asian, but I'm kind of only saying that because I want to be. Let's do it.
What's up, good humans? I'm so excited because we just dropped our human good collection.
Spectrum, mixed race. We invited 6 people of mixed race to see the range of their values and beliefs.
I am mixed with African and Asian. I am more Asian than black.
Interesting.
My dad was from El Salvador, and my mom is half Japanese, half Jewish.
Okay, that's
My ethnicity
I see you.
is Filipino and black. I do feel more inclined to my black side more than my Filipino side.
My mother is white and my dad is Iranian. All throughout high school, I just pretended I was white because I looked very white.
Pretended? How you gonna pretend you're white when you are white? I mean, you part white.
I'm half Chinese.
Maybe just pretended that he was full white. Just look, I'm white. That's it.
I never really connected to either side, just somewhere in the middle.
I feel that.
My mom is Jamaican and my dad is Australian. Being mixed race is a race, so I don't feel like I want to have to pick.
Okay, I feel that too. People think I'm hot because I'm mixed race. I've kind of gotten that. Like, they're kind of like, oh, you mix, you got light skin. And it's kind of like, all right, sure. Yeah, I'd say I somewhat agree to that. Oh, you see everybody, yep. So that's the somewhat agree and strongly disagree. Okay, I agree. I agree. I take it back. I don't somewhat. I was like looking at the lines. I thought it was different. Okay, I agree.
A lot of people are like, oh my God, like you're like light skin. You look so nice. Like you don't look like all the other ghetto girls. And I'm like,
yeah.
What is that supposed to mean? That's my aunt. Like,
exactly.
On first dates, most of the time people would be like, oh, no wonder you're so attractive, or like, no wonder you're so gorgeous. And I'm just like, ugh. I don't love that reaction.
I've always found like it's like just an awkward thing to bring up in conversation because there's like all the memes where like people are like, oh, did you know like I'm mixed or whatever? And it's like bringing it up and like
Logic, why did you do this to us?
Have you not seen like the Logic memes where he's like, oh,
yes.
I'm biracial?
Why Logic? Why?
You haven't seen No! He's just always bringing up how he's like half black, and that's like what the meme is.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say racial slurs as long as I'm part of that identity.
See, now this is, so when they say racial slurs, are they talking about, so me being African American on this side, the GGA or the GGER? Because both are really, it's really hard, especially on the internet. I think when I'm in real life, like I say the GGA, I'm not gonna lie, but when I'm in real life, it's a little bit more facilitated. I can kind of say it around specifically who I feel okay saying it around it, and to me it doesn't really matter what their race is. I'm gonna still say the word. But online, I think, so in person I don't usually have that big of a problem, but online when I'm using it, like say I just use it in videos or I use it while I'm streaming, I used to actually do that a lot until one time while I was streaming, someone came in and it was just a troll, so they kept dropping the ER version in the chat, and then I realized, you know, it's hard to defend and say, hey, I mean, even though it's not hard because I get the whole thing behind it, everything, all that, okay, all the meaning of the word, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, it's really hard as a streamer, at least, or when you're streaming live, especially you're just playing a video game and someone does that, it's really hard, even though you've been saying it the whole stream, to just be like, hey, stop. Because another thing, I mean, if they're saying it like that, obviously they probably are not African American and they're just trying to instigate me. But another thing is, I don't know who's behind the screen, so it's also hard because then some fans be coming in and they just drop it, right? And I'm like, oh, well, I recognize their username. They're always really nice in the comments. They're probably Black to a degree. So that it just raises too many things. So I just don't say the word entirely online just because it's like annoying, and it's just it's not even annoying in a sense of like, oh, you shouldn't do it. It's more just like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't care. Long story short, real life, I'll say it whenever I want. In my music, I'll say it whenever I want. Online gaming videos or these kind of videos, streaming, I don't say it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, because he said racial slurs, like a slur and then saying the word that's appropriate for your culture is very hard, or not very hard, but they're two different things. So let's see what happens.
Me personally, I do not say the N-word. I just don't. It just doesn't flow out right. But like for my Asian side, obviously I can call my like fellow girlies chinks and stuff. But like obviously if someone else.
But you see, that's where I'm like, look at dude's face. He's like, damn. What is the difference between that word and then the N-word? I mean, they both have huge histories, but I'm like, why is she okay with saying that and then the other? So I mean, it's also the person, their own.
Said that. You get the fist.
I agree.
And that's another thing. I ain't got time to fight people. Usually when someone else drops the N-bomb in front of me, people look at me like, oh, time for you to beat him or her up. I don't want to fight anyone. And if someone actually said it in front of me that wasn't of the African-American culture, you just kind of give them that look where it's like, because people have, Caucasian people mainly, have said it in front of me thinking like, oh, it's cool, man. It's cool, we're cool. And then you just look at them and there's just an awkward silence and then you walk away. At least that's how everything is handled on my end. So the whole beat them up, I can't do that. So
I do use the N-word, but I only say it when I'm around fellow Black people.
I try my best to only use the N-word around like my Black friends just because it creates this like weird air when I'm with like white people. It's a slippery slope that I don't like to go down.
Probably makes them really uncomfortable.
And actually, like, more than you think, it's not even uncomfortable. A lot of them think it's really cool, and then some people will feel entitled to do that, and then you just don't want to have that conversation.
That's exactly, you say it, depending on the crowd, you say it, and then they say it, and then everybody's saying it, and then it's like.
I did get into a little bit of an altercation in high school for calling white people colonists. That was the thing. And people were like, that's a racial slur.
Colonist?
It is.
That is not a racial slur.
Subscribe to become a colonist. White people, man. I mean, not all white people, but some of them be trying. They reach. Okay? You called me Caucasian, that's racist. I'm like, but dude, that's what they want to have something sometimes, but they don't. And it's not fun. I don't know why they want to have a word.
I don't feel comfortable using any slurs. If I haven't heard those slurs towards me, then maybe I am not in a position to reclaim them.
Pass is more important than your actual race.
How you pass is more important. Passing, when a person classified as a member of one racial group is accepted as a member of a group other than their own. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's my actual race, I guess, would be classified as mixed because I'm not really one race. It's weird because, sure, I look African American, but I also look like I'm mixed with something. So I look more mixed with Caucasian, I think. I don't exactly know. But I've never been fully accepted by the African American community. I've never been fully accepted by the Caucasian community. When I'm with Black people, it's like, hey, you kind of talk white, but you can hang out with us, I guess, and say the N-word if you sound right saying it. And then with white people, it's like, yo, dude, I have a Black friend. It's like, neither. I don't care about how I really pass. And I also I've never really identified as like, hey, man, Black power. Hey, I'm really more white than Black. I've never really cared about that kind of stuff. I just be myself.
In America today, walking down the street, it matters what you look like. People are gonna judge you based on the race that they perceive you to be. When I walk down the street, people aren't gonna look at me the same way as they look at someone who's perceived as Black. And so I just wanna really acknowledge the reality of that.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all, but at the same time, I think the most important thing is just how you grew up. Someone that has a Black parent that doesn't appear Black, they were still raised by a Black person. They still everything that their parents' experience is passed down to them, whether it's through story or just through actions.
I'm actually gonna move over to this line, which is, I guess, more of a middle line, just because I can't do that? Then I'm here. Never mind. So I'm on somewhat agree because I'm an actor, and when I go into casting calls, it only matters what I look like, and it only matters what race they think I am, which is a lot of times white, but sometimes I'll get called in for things that are not my ethnicity, and that's because of my career, that's what's important with that.
Interesting.
To hide someone's racial identity.
This hits hard, bro. This hits hard for me. 100%. I mean, it's when you're like in the middle of it all, you kind of want to feel accepted by something, especially when you're younger and like you're very new to life and like groups, and you see there's white people, black people, Mexican people, Asian people, you know, everyone has their kind of thing, their niche. Even on the internet, you can kind of see that too. I've noticed that when I'm around black people, or when I was, now I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to act how I act. You don't like me, you don't like me. But, or if you like me, you like me. Yeah, when I used to be around black people, I used to be like, hey, what up, bro? What, you know, like I try to fit in with their slang, and like, it didn't work. And then when I'd be around white people, I'd be tired of being the stereotypical black friend that they would always like kind of go to. And even if by culture standards in America or whatever, I don't like a lot of black things. Like, I'm not big on sports. Apparently that's a huge thing in the black community. I'm horrible at basketball. I suck at football. I hate physical contact. It's just bad for me. And then in the white culture or whatever, I'm also kind of loud though, and that's black. And then, you know, there's all these different titles and labels for everything that I just kind of got tired of it, and I just don't surround myself with people that think that way, because it's too exhausting on my end to constantly have to put up a facade of some sorts. Strongly. Oh, okay.
Even throughout high school, I just pretended I was white completely. And there was a time when my dad picked me up from school. It was a whole thing, and people were saying like, oh, your dad's a terrorist. I had never experienced anything like that, or they'd ask me about it, they'd make bomb jokes, and it hurt to hear people saying stuff like that about my dad.
A similar thing happened to me, like when I was in elementary school. My dad came and dropped me off at school, and he's like a dark-skinned black man, and he's from the hood on top of that, so like he has a certain like aura to him. And a lot of people look at me like, that's your dad? And I'm like, yeah, that's my dad. And they're like, he looks so scary. And I'm like, why does he look scary to you? Why should he look scary to you? And like the only thing that's keeping me away from this strongly disagree is because when I was younger, I just did not accept the black part of myself. And now I do.
I just want to say I'm really sorry, like, to both of you that you felt like you've been put in positions to feel like that. That's just like such a terrible thing to tell someone. No, you can't be every part of who you are. Growing up, like, I was always proud to be white, and I was always proud to be black. That's just how I was raised, and that's always how I was, and I just wanted to be me. So that's what I did.
The reason I'm on this line is because Western beauty standards.
So I'm just letting them talk. So, you know, if I'm not commenting, I'm sorry.
They really, really got to me.
Yep.
I would be really picky about how I would do my hair and how I would part my hair. And then when I would post YouTube videos or Instagram posts, I would color correct everything to be really blue so that I didn't look yellow. And it was just
like, it's a struggle.
I didn't want to post a photo of me outside because I thought my eyes looked too Asian. A lot of internalized things that made me hate myself and my appearance. And now I feel much more accepting of being mixed and being everything that I am. But I am here because I have felt like I wanted to hide a part of me because it would have been easier for me.
I agree. Like when I was younger, I used to want to be lighter. I used to get made fun of. I would always get the question, are you adopted? You're not Asian. And it just made me feel so bad about myself that I just was so confused because I didn't fit in any single pocket of anybody in any friend groups.
That's how it is.
With the Chinese kids because they're like, you don't look Chinese. I don't hang out with the black kids because I don't sound black. And they say I'm whitewashed. So I have the whole entire
the whitewash thing, preach it, sister, every day, to this day. Now I just be like, I don't care. But yeah, that was the main thing that really got me.
I use my races to my advantage.
I don't know about advantage per se. You see, like, this is a little bit harder just because like now I just know who I am. I'm black, white, do my thing. It's who I am, like it or not. It's how it is. I've never like used it to my advantage. I've always, damn, have I? Now I'm really trying to think. I don't know. I think at one point in my life, I did have a really, really bad thought process of, oh, I'm mixed, so I'll be okay if I go to this job interview because I'm part white, so they should accept me to a degree, right? I did have that mentality for a while, and that took me a while to break out of. It was really bad. But that's not really to my advantage. I was just thinking that I was using it as a crutch. Maybe that's an advantage. I don't know. But I've never been like, oh, I'm this, so I'm going to win. Well, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe I use the half white on my side to think that I'm more eligible for opportunities instead of, since I'm mixed and I'm not fully black. And, you know, it's a very bad mentality. It's not good. Don't think that way. But I guess, yeah, to a degree I have.
Maybe. So I feel like I just have to say that when writing college essays, every single one of my essays was about being half Iranian and half white. Like when I was applying for scholarships, that's what I would talk about because it was something that I really felt passionate about, but also that something that I knew would catch people's interest. And I think I don't feel guilty about using that because I think it's a double-edged sword. And there's
okay. So he's thinking I'm on a positive side. Mine was a much more negative side, negative connotation with that.
Repercussions for being mixed race too.
Well, I kind of interpreted it differently. Like I haven't really abused my power like that. Like sure, that is a way like that, but like I haven't done anything else besides that on like my college apps.
So I don't know if I can do this, but maybe I'm gonna like straddle these two. Okay, then I'll like daintily pose over here. But like my grandma was Jewish, and I did go on Birthright, which is a free trip for people of Jewish descent. And even though I don't like identify a lot with the Jewish religion, I did get a free trip to Israel out of being part Jewish. So I guess that's like kind of something to my advantage. But I really loved my time there.
Everybody's switching.
Like,
honestly, I'd probably be bouncing between the lines too, because the question's very vague, and then it kind of pans out as everyone's talking about their thing.
For being half Asian, for like I worked at mostly predominantly Asian businesses, and as soon as I say I speak fluent Cantonese, I got the job.
The issue of racism can be solved by interracial love.
Yes. I think I feel like that is a huge, huge part of it, because there was a point in my life where I thought I was only allowed to date black women. That was it. I'm not allowed to, like, if I even think about any other race, I'm out. You know, I'm outed. So I'm in a relationship right now with a beautiful German Armenian woman. She's amazing, beautiful, awesome. And that has opened my brain so much to life. It's weird too. And even when we go out, we still get weird looks, like, you know, and it sucks. It really does suck. But I feel like if people weren't, not saying that you're limited if that's your preference, you know, preference and limitation are two different things. But if people weren't afraid, I guess, to really just step outside of something that, if you feel it in your heart. Now, again, preference, if you prefer your own race or whatever, that's fine, whatever. But it's like, I feel like people sometimes lean more towards their own race because they feel like that's where their family would be comfortable with it, their friends would be, and they don't fully they're not fully aware of what they like, or who they like. I mean, not what, sorry, who they like. So yeah, I feel like, I don't think the issue can be solved. I don't think it's going to be, all right, we're all dating our opposite races. Now we're no longer racist. No, but I do think it opens up a perspective for a lot of people that that they don't see without kind of exploring out of their norm.
This is from the audience?
Strongly disagree.
There are way too many articles about an interracial couple where it's later find out that the white part is saying a racial slur about their child. Just to boil it down to like love, it really can't be done.
First
Well, what
of all,
the? Hold up. The white person saying a racial slur about their child? Okay, that's just a fluked up person.
Second of all, there's a lot of, sorry to name names, but like a lot of white women who want to get with black men trying to achieve their light-skinned baby who's like just the perfect amount of
Okay, yeah, that's true. But that's also, I think on the other end, to be aware of that, I think if the person, I want to assume the best, okay? Like we could just constantly assume the negative and assume that every mixed or interracial couple is just trying to get a nice, cute mixed baby. Or you could be like, hey, they both understand each other and they're not trying to use each other for dumb shit like that. Because at the end of the day, all that is just a fucking Instagram post or showing off to you, like, you know, and then, but I mean, that does exist. I'm not disagreeing with that.
hand with the perfect amount of curls.
Yeah, like raise your hand if you've heard someone be like, oh my gosh, I would have such gorgeous mixed babies. Like,
well, yeah, definitely. And they're idiots and I stay away from them.
Definitely heard that. And we're all gorgeous. Don't get me wrong.
True.
But that's super problematic to say, one. And two, I'm over here because like there's like no one solution to racism.
Yeah, I agree too. There's no one solution. It's not going to fix everything. It's not just going to be like, hey, they're all right. No, but
Make it really clear that a white person having a kid with a black person does not mean that that person does not have racist tendencies or is not discriminatory at all. I love my dad to death, but sometimes he just says things where it's like, you shouldn't be saying that.
Also true.
If like America becomes super mixed and like everybody's mixed, if not racism, we'll still have like colorism and different nuances within racism.
I mean, all right, sure, you could think that further down to the point of like, I mean, it's kind of sad way to think about it, where it's like, okay, we can solve racism. Now we have to solve colorism. It's a whole nother thing, but it's like, we could just hope for the best. I try to be an optimistic guy.
It's not going to go away just because people are more mixed. Like you can say like mixed people are the future or whatever, but
that's a stupid saying too. I don't understand the mixed people are the future thing.
But it's not going to solve racism.
No, it doesn't solve it. And that's a wrap, man. What's your opinions? We can share opinions and not hate each other in the comments, right? I want to believe we can, because I try to think optimistically. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. Almost broke my chair. Right in the kisser. I love you. Most definitely. Hope you have a fantastic day. Subscribe and join the OG fam. And I'll see you in the next video. I know the feeling is stopping and decaying.
I see an entity from miles away. Miles away. Your smile is holy. I'm talking like I talk to you. You know me from a distance. I can't get closer to hurt me. Your face is golden. I see it.